IJ's Kids Inclusive Podcast. And let me tell you, I literally stalked this lady because I've been following her on Instagram for quite a while. Actually, before Instagram, I remember seeing her on a couple of segments on morning television and seeing a video of this absolutely fantastic lady of an amazing proposal with her husband.
Oh my gosh.
All the way in 2006. I don't know if you guys know of this hashtag, Mizzy 2016.
Oh my
I remember
gosh, you really know stuff.
Yeah, we watched it at the restaurant because she was trending at a time. So when I tell you I have a very special guest, I am not kidding.
Thank you.
And
Thank
everything
you so much
about this lady is amazing. But I want her to introduce herself. We know her as
goodness.
Lizzy O, but I'm sure like her tribe know her as a couple of names. Couple of names if she's Nigerian. We have a few.
Yeah.
But if you could just introduce yourself and let everybody know who you are and just tell us more about Lizzy O.
You're so kind. You guys, we were chatting before she started this podcast, and I'm already in love with the energy. But hi, guys, my name is Lizzy. I go by Lizzy O on all social media platforms. I used to be the DIY lady, so if you ever think, Lizzy doesn't sound familiar, my name was the DIY lady at some point, and then I decided that I was not into DIY anymore, so I'm just gonna go by my name. And whenever I wanted to DIY, I would just DIY, and people who wanted to see that would just see that and we roll with it. But yes, I am Lizzy. I am a social media influencer, and I am calling myself that proudly now because there was a time I didn't used to embrace that name. Yeah. And I blog about my life as a disabled mom to a beautiful daughter. She is 3 years old, and I am married, and we live in sunny California. I enjoy what I do online, so thank you for having me on here. I'm guessing my online presence is why you brought me here, and I look forward to today's chat with you.
Absolutely. Your online presence, honestly, and we're not even underrating, because I was just letting her know before our chat that I live in Oklahoma City and I used to run a restaurant over there. And I remember her proposal for her before her wedding, was trending. And then the wedding itself was trending. And it was just the energy between you and, you're going to laugh, hashtag Lebu is what she calls her.
That's him. Yeah, I know. That's what I call him.
That's right. And it was so inspirational to so many people. And not just to people who are differently abled, but just everyone in particular. And I think that energy is the reason why, I was so drawn to not just your Instagram page, because I think that good energy really comes from a good heart. So my biggest question is, just starting everything, let's even talk about just love between you and, your hubby and your life and just what you embrace. Why is, having a disability, for instance, why is it important to have a good degree of self-worth? Like you said, you have, physical disability, and we'll go back into it, but you radiate self-worth so much. And I know it didn't just come overnight. I'm sure it was
not
work.
A day's job.
But why is it so important, love, self-worth, and where you're at?
Well, first of all, this is February, the month of love. So this topic is very, very on point. Personally, I feel like regardless of disability, like you said, everyone needs to have a sense of self-worth. You can't expect someone to love all of you when you don't even love all of yourself, right? And right after the car accident, which, by the way, if you're listening to this and you know nothing about my life, I had a car accident in March of 2008 that resulted in a spinal cord injury. And that literally left me with no other choice but to use a wheelchair for every day. And when I say every day, I'm on the wheelchair 24/7, except for when I'm on a chair, couch, or bed. So I have to be on the wheelchair. It's not like I can walk a little distance from here to there. I'm on the wheelchair every second of every day that I'm not on a bed or on a couch. So after the car accident in 2008, it became a thing of okay, this is about to be the new norm. As a Christian, of course, I did have faith, and I still do, that God can do anything. But one thing that I have always stuck to is that until that happens, I'm going to live my best life. Period. Yeah. And so until that happens, I'm going to understand that wheelchair or not, I am a whole human being. I'm a person that deserves love. I'm a person that I'm going to, it was just a thing where, and I think my personality also has added some things to it, but it was just a decision that I made. I'm not going to sleep until I'm now back to walking before I realized that I'm amazing because I am.
Girl, you have big energy. I mean, pre this conversation, I was like, wow, she's like really cool.
Thank you. So it's just, I feel like everybody has to get to that point where they feel very much so confident in exactly who they are. Yeah. And once you do that, you will attract the people who are for you. And this goes to romantic relationship as well. Now, my husband, Lebu, as I fondly call him on the internet streets, he was my friend even before the disability. But we were not dating or anything. It was just my friend. And so in a way, it was easier for me to transition after the accident into like, I shared everything with my friend, it was my friend. So it wasn't so much that, I had to explain too much now that we're dating, if that makes any sense to you. Wow. Because I know some people with disabilities, like getting into romantic relationships is so difficult because they feel like they have to explain so much to people. But just imagine for me, it was like I was already telling my friend everything that was happening while I was like in the hospital, in the rehab. So he knew so much about what was going on already that when he decided that he really wanted to date me and I finally got some sense to say yes to him, it was just like a good transition from a friendship relationship. But I think all of that was very easy also because I didn't go into the relationship feeling like I was broken. Yeah. It was just like, okay, now I'm just about to take this relationship that's a friendship and make it something much more with him. Yeah. So to answer your question, I think having self-worth helps not only that you deserve, but it also helps the people around you to realize that you are just a person. Yeah. And so they just have to decide, do they like your personality? Do they like your dreams and visions? And then it's like, okay, cool. I like all of that stuff about her. So we're moving on into a relationship.
Oh, yeah. I love what you said about when you work in yourself and your self-worth, that you actually attract that. That's huge. Oh,
you do.
That's Absolutely. Major. Yeah. That's major.
I think a lot of people forget that we have energy around us. And I know some people don't understand what energy even is, but you attract what you
radiate or something.
What you even fixate on, what you radiate, it's very much so that for me personally, I hear people say, oh, you're an inspiration, you're motivational, you're so much this, you're so much that. And I understand what they mean, It's like, okay, I get it because I'm disabled and I've chosen to live my life to the fullest by embracing every part of who I am. I get it. But I don't think it makes me an hero or instantaneously an inspiration because you can be that way too. I'm not some unicorn that just because I'm disabled and I still have a happy spirit, oh, you could never be that. And I get it. I think people say that because they think about themselves and they're like, I couldn't possibly still be happy or confident if I ever became disabled. I think that's what a lot of people see when they see me. And it's like, oh my gosh, she's still so happy, even though she lives almost 99% of her life on a wheelchair. And it's like, yeah, I get what you're saying. Not to take away from the fact that I put myself on these internet streets to motivate and give people inspiration. I know what I'm there for. But when the first thing people say is, oh my God, I could never. I'm like, actually, you can. We all need to have confidence in our abilities beyond the physical. Yeah. And when you can do that, I mean, coming from a parental point of view, you can actually also instill that confidence in your child, because you don't want to raise children that are so defined by their outward appearance. You want your child to be able to have a self-worth, a self-image that goes beyond the physical. And so if my daughter was to ever want to date somebody right now, the first question I'm not going to ask her is are they walking? Mm-hmm. Do you get
that's wow.
So it's
I'm listening to the podcast now. I'm almost about to forget my questions because I'm like, wow, she's giving me nuggets of stuff. But you're right. You're right.
So I think a lot of people, disabled or not, because I don't want to just focus on disability, I think it's a people thing. A lot of people are so fixated on the fact that somebody's just going to come from somewhere and accept all of who they are without them having to accept all of who they are first. Wow. It's like, it's not going to happen. You have to actually be okay with the fact that you have a mole on your nose before you find somebody that's like touching your mole and be happy about it. You know, you have to be okay with the fact that you use a wheelchair for everyday movement before you expect that somebody's going to come from nowhere and be like, I only see your heart. But a lot of us don't think like that. And that's when the disconnect happens, when you think that your expectations are not being met by whoever it is you're trying to be in a relationship with. Anyway, I don't want to go off on a dialogue here. So let's get back into the dialogue.
Not at all. And let this podcast episode be as organic as possible. So I want to kind of stay here and talk about your journey. Self-worth, who you are, Lizzy O before the spinal cord injury, and now. How can you describe your journey? Because, I want this podcast to be, like you, a place of hope to someone who sees you and says, wow, my story and hers are kind of similar. How did you journey from there to where you are now? And again, you're probably going to say some of the things that you've already said before. I know that faith had a lot to do with it. But how did you deal with the mental challenge, of that?
Well, for starters, I was a teenager when the accident happened. So imagine being a teenager and thinking that your life is over, but then still saying that, no, I'm not going to let my life be over because I want more for myself than just to think that it's over for me. The journey, of course, was long. 2008 is over 12 years ago, I think. I'm not doing the math.
No, you're good. I think so.
So it's been a long journey, but I think as a teenager, it was more so challenging because a part of me wanted to think about what people would say. But once I got to the point, thanks to my support system, thanks to my faith in God, thanks to my personality, and I always say my personality because I think I was never the person who cared way too much what people thought anyway. But now that I had a disability, that thought did come to my head because it's like being African, especially, Nigerian.
Yeah.
The trauma, is it trauma? Not trauma. The stigma attached to disability, I had to think about those things a little bit. And I was like, this might make it hard. But then at the end of the day, it's like, I don't know, y'all.
Okay, that part.
And then it's like, I really thought about it. When I had the car accident,
yes.
I'm gonna be real with you. I can count the people that visited me in the hospital and in rehab.
Wow.
So if I can count my support system and they don't care one bit about this new person that I'm becoming because disability, then why would I be thinking about the people I'll meet in church? Why would I be thinking about the people I'll meet in the store? Why am I stressing myself about people that I'll meet in
my
school?
God.
They're not even part of my support system. So why would I care that
what they say?
So once all that's in just hits my head, let me use my Najab.
That's okay.
Well, just like, bye.
Nah.
Yeah. So for me, I think that was it. Just realizing that all the things that came to my head, if it was something that I needed to fix, I tried to do it. And I'm going to give an example. So for one, it was like, am I going to be able to go back to school and continue to pursue my dreams? Or does disability stop all of that? I thought about it. I'm like, oh my God, I was in the nursing program, before the car accident happened. So do I want to switch my majors? Some people are telling me switch your majors. Some people are telling you, oh, you don't want to be nursing now. You're going to be on a wheelchair. And then I was like, wait, first of all, I want to do this for myself. I want to prove to myself that I can go back. So I called my school. I was like, y'all still going to accept me into the program? Or is that it's over? And they were like, we cannot discriminate. If you want to do nursing, you can do nursing. So for me, finding solutions to the problems that came up was a way for me to keep on going. Okay. And if I came across something that I couldn't fix, then it was like, okay, then I can't fix it.
Right.
So I let that go.
That. Right.
I think it helps. And some people will call it functional, functional.
I don't know the word either.
Coping.
Okay.
Mechanism.
Yeah.
Which is okay. I think it helped me for real. because instead of me to just stay at home 11 months after the car accident, after strenuous physical and occupational therapy, I was like, I'm going back to school. Some people were like, go to school in Texas now, because like you said, we met, I don't know if I met you, but I feel like I did, in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I went to school in Oklahoma I lived in Texas. So some people are like, just stay so that you can go from home to school. Don't go back to Oklahoma. And I was like, if I stay home, I know myself. I will be so dependent on my parents. I will be so like quick to feel disabled, if that makes sense. If you can imagine. So it was like the same way when I was still in rehab. I was so dependent on the nurses, because with a click of a button, they just come to the room.
Right, because it's your comfort zone.
It's so easy to sink into that place. But for me, I was just like, no, I think I'm gonna go back to Oklahoma. And I had a room all to myself. So I had to be independent. I mean, of course, I had some level of independence, which was why I was discharged from rehab, and which was why my parents were okay to like send me off. It wasn't like I was going to be falling every second and then they let me go to school. Don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it was still challenging because I had to make that decision. Like, are you going to go? So having those little moments of independence, having those little moments of these are the things I love about myself and these are the things I want to achieve, they really helped in becoming who I am today. I think it was all a part of the journey. It was all a part of getting to where I am now, where it's like, you can't tell me two things about who I am because I know exactly who I am, you know? Yeah.
Wow. I mean, I'm really trying to stay focused because I'm enjoying every single thing you're saying. You are, you're radiating a lot of just positivity and hope. And I feel like it'll help somebody. And I wanted to kind of track back to what you were saying about your now husband, #Lebu. I love it.
Yeah.
You know, you were saying that at the time, you know, you guys were already friends and that you met. And so it almost felt like there was not much of a transition because he was already your friend. So my question is, do you feel like, okay, you believe in God, so I'm just going to go down this track. Do you feel like that was all part of God's design initially for it to kind of work out that way?
God has a very interesting sense of humor. I always say that.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't know what he's doing when he's doing it. But in hindsight, I low-key think God knew exactly what he was doing. Because this is somebody that I met through our mutual friends, right? I met him 2007. Literally like a year before my car accident. Almost exactly like a year. Oh my God, I'm thinking about it. I met him 2007 spring break.
Wow.
I had the car accident 2008 spring break. Wow. That sounds like a God thing to me because
yes.
Because he was my friend. We were chatting, you know. He tried to date me, don't get me wrong, before the accident. But I was like, nah, because I'm like a teenager and like
exactly. And we have options.
And like now,
every girl in America.
And again, he was very if I say this now, it's gonna be a bunch of people come up at me. But I was a teenager, so remember, he was very Christian. Yes. When I say very Christian, it's not like I was a devil child, but he was very
I know, but he wasn't.
He wasn't going to kiss me. He wasn't going, you know. And I was like, sir, no.
I know.
And I'm not. God, please, Lord.
No, that's okay.
So it was like, what was I? If I'm 32 now, 2007, how the heck was I? Oh my God. You get the point.
I get the point. You were a teenager.
So I wasn't even 18 yet. That part I can say, right? I don't think I was 8. Was I 18? No, I don't think I was 18 yet. Or 19. Oh God.
Probably around. It's okay.
So think about it. Teenager, here's this boy, loves God so much, love that about him, because of course I'm walking in my relationship with Christ too. Then wants to date me. Said he would never XYZ before XYZ. I'm okay with that because it wasn't like I was doing anything bad. Again, don't get me wrong. I wasn't a devil child either.
Exactly.
But it just felt so much like dating him would be so, what's the word? Restrictive.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm still going to college. Like, it's going to be parties.
Exactly. You want to go have fun.
Long story short, just friends,
Nice.
and car accident happens, still stayed friends, never felt bad about anything. But as I started getting better, it was like, yeah, I'm still willing to date you and stuff. And I was like, what you mean? Like, no.
Wow.
Of course, I had to also walk through the whole, I get it, you're my friend. What if we date and then it doesn't work out? Or what if we date and then my heart breaks or something, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then long story short, this is where the God factor comes in. I literally felt like I got a clear word from God, like, what is you doing?
Like, wake up.
And it just was
like I've been giving you hints and we're still here.
And then of course confusion tries to come your way too. In the case of, like I said, after the car accident, I think thanks to God, I had such good self-image that it wasn't like guys were no longer talking to me.
Yeah.
So then it's almost like I still have options. But this one guy who's like my friend is now saying he wants to date me. And I'm just thinking, do I keep having options or do I just choose one person? You're a teenager, okay?
Right.
None of this makes any sense. Anyways, I think though, after the car accident, it was like a very clear cut. You can't keep living life the way you used to. Yeah. You have a second chance of life. So it was very easy for me to just start making decisions.
Make a decision.
Like, okay. Now I wasn't scared of nothing because if I didn't die then, what's going to kill me? It was so much like that. And I always jokingly say, I think everybody needs to have a near-death experience in their life. Yeah. Not that I wish bad on people, but I think it really snaps you into like this zone of all the things I think are very strong. They're not even strong at all. Because when you go through real challenges, child, you gonna know what you thought was a challenge is just gonna. I used to think the biggest challenge I had was like staying out later. So I don't even know, like doing schoolwork. And then it turns out the biggest challenge I have is trying to figure out how to use my fingers again, how to sit up from a bed, how to learn how to pee a different way or poop a different way. Like when I tell you the challenges that comes with spinal cord injury, I mean, every other thing just became like child's play. So it's like, okay, I'll date you. I mean, and then I started loving him so much. It was so weird. It was like overnight. Like I literally woke up one day and it's like, where is that? I mean, that's his real name, of course, Label. Yeah. And it's like, it was such a God. It was so weird because I was so convinced that we were just going to be friends. And then one day I wake up and it's like, I love you too. I will find it weird saying it because how do you go from telling somebody you would never date them? Yeah. To then, like, our relationship just progressed so much into more than that. And I think it was all because I could just share every aspect of my new life with this person. Aww. And he was just there without judgment. Like, Lebu would go on the internet and it would like be searching for things that I was telling doctors were telling me. It would like find articles about, because there was a point in rehab when the doctors came to me and they were like, if your period doesn't come back after the shock your body has experienced, we would know if you can have a child. And that one struck to me. That one struck to me because I was like, okay, pause. I'm a teenager. I'm not really thinking about having children, but now y'all are saying it might never happen. That kind of makes me a little worried. And guess what? Aside from my best friend who was a female, I had Lebu and a few other friends, don't get me wrong, but Lebu was like very constant. And I would talk to him all the time about like stuff that I was being told by the doctors. And he would like come up with like articles. He would tell me like, oh, I went to Google and I search for something and I see what they say about it. And then I'll be like, huh? Don't worry. As long as your period comes back, you can have children. Don't let them scare you. Wow. Good. And he would like pray with me. And I'm like, thank you. So I mean, those things now, it's not like I'm a strong-hearted human being too. I started falling in love, So it was so organic. It was so like the next transition of our relationship almost. And I will keep saying that definitely was a God thing because it's only God that could like change a person's heart. Yeah. It's only God that could let my eyes also be open to what was right there in front of me. And once we started dating, it was so natural. Like I never even had to like be scared of my parents or say, oh, I'm going out with my friend when it's him I'm going out with. Again, everything just fell into place. I wasn't scared of nothing after this car accident. I'm gonna tell you the truth. Like,
oh, I love it.
So
oh goodness.
That's really the
That's huge, Joe. Like he and like you said, your best friend and probably a few other people are your support system. And I love what you said about your support system. And that's huge. Even for young people, it's like you learn who is for you and the voices of those that are not, or what you think people are saying, you're able to block it out because you're like the people who are for you. Yeah. But it's right something. There. Yes. And that confidence is huge, like even if you have a disability or not, like that's huge. Like I feel like with girls, just people in general. But I mean, your support system is definitely, I could tell that helped and just carried you through this process. Like how important, if you just talk about it a little bit more, like why is the support system for you, having a physical disability extremely important,
where do I begin? It's I feel like if you are born with a disability, your life is probably not going to be so much. There's a break in between because it's what you've known all your life.
That's a good point. But for me,
I had a car accident. I had a group of friends before the car accident. I noticed who didn't show up one time or two times. So I was able to see like the break, and it was very clear to just know who's in my corner. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying, oh, because you didn't even see me in the hospital, so I cut you off. No. I wasn't that person at all. It was no bad blood. It was no evil. It's just, it lets you know who is there.
Yes.
Like, and it lets you know who will still be there. Because some people, maybe they couldn't come to the hospital for whatever reason.
Right.
But once you got out, they were there at your house constantly.
Yes.
Once you got out, they wanted to hang out with you every weekend. I had those friends too. Once you said you're throwing a birthday party, they show up. Like people are in different.
You need that inner.
Right? Yeah. You do. But like your inner circle, child, you gonna know who they is. Like you know who is in that circle.
You need that.
It just helps you.
Just like the Peter, James, and John, and all the other disciples. You need that.
You know what I'm saying? Like you just know who people be. But I want to just clearly say that whether those people are plenty or little, it doesn't really matter.
It doesn't matter. That's huge.
Because at the end of the day, it's more about you and your appreciation towards them, right? And you acknowledging that even if it's one person, that one person is a solid one. And you acknowledging that, okay, maybe I didn't have that many solids, but now I can develop more relationships. Yeah. I have friends now who are more solid, and I made them after the car accident than friends I knew before the car accident. You see what I'm saying? So it's not like, oh, now I know who's real and I'm going to cut you off. Like, there's no reason to be that dramatic.
Yeah.
It's just, you just have a clear understanding where everybody stands in your life. And then you can choose to either be bitter about it or to just appreciate those who are solid.
Yeah.
I chose there was no need to be bitter or to call somebody and be like, oh my God, you didn't visit me when I was in the hospital. You heard I was dying and you didn't call me. Like, it's not that deep. Maybe they were dying too. You don't know what was going on in their life, So for me, it was just so much appreciating God for having people in my life who were solids, who were constantly there for me, who prayed with me, showed up for me, whether it's to a party or whether it's to a birthday, whether it's to a dinner. Like people just came through. And I want to say that there were times I did still feel lonely, but it wasn't so much that, I don't know how to explain it. You would just, how do I say it? You can't go through a life-changing situation without sometimes thinking you're alone in it.
Yeah.
No matter how supportive your support system are, they don't know what you're going through 100%. They're just trying their best to support you.
That's some real talk right there.
That's real talk. They're just trying their best to support you. They know you got to use a wheelchair now, but they don't even know what that means. To
that's
them,
being real.
Maybe they think you just have to get up and sit on the wheelchair. And I'm like, Charlie, can you pull me up? And it's like, oh, okay, I'll pull you up. And then you have to also get to the point where you can tell people exactly what you need.
Oh my goodness. I love that.
And it's like, you have to be willing to be vulnerable and not take things to heart. Not everybody is against you. So some people have support system in the beginning. They're the ones that push the support system away.
Okay, so this podcast is 1 hour, but we're gonna have to do a part 2. No, I love it. You're saying something. No, I love it. You're saying something that is so important. I can only imagine now what you're saying. You said vulnerability and having people in your support system who really support you. And now I'm thinking of all the changes, because sometimes you're going to have some very intimate situations where, like, for instance, I'm sure there are things that your husband had to do that if you guys didn't have the connection, like, it would have been like, it could have been a make or break situation,
Well, I don't know what the jeez, man, where do I even go? I'm gonna go to my best friend. I feel like that's a more relatable relationship. Best friend. Let's go best friend.
Okay.
Okay. So, like I said, I went back to school in 2008, right? 2009. What am I speaking? I had a crash in 2008. Went back to school in 2009. Went alone. But my best friend also was in the nursing program. I had my room to myself. Don't get me wrong. But she was in school. Okay. One day, I went to use the restroom. As I typically do, things have changed. I had to transfer from a wheelchair onto the toilet seat. Long story. I think my body didn't get the memo one time. Sorry, everybody. Warning coming up. It's going to be nasty.
That's okay.
I needed to poop. Everything happened before I could get on the toilet seat.
Yeah.
So now I am in school. Like, it was just almost impossible to even know what to do at this point, because this has never happened to me before. We call it an accident, basically. It's like, now what do I do? I'm like, well, my best friend's in school. So I call her like, girl. Till today, she says that she actually has removed that memory from my head. And the only time she remembers is when I keep bringing it up.
That's her best friend.
But how can I not ever bring that up?
Wow.
She had to come to literally clean me up like a damn baby and clean up everything, help me get myself situated. And if she wasn't in school during that period, I would probably have had to just call on somebody else and it would be more embarrassing. But since it was her, it was still kind of like, do I want her to see all this? Or do I just want to struggle through it? And just having someone who you can be vulnerable like that with,
that's huge.
It took a lot for me to even like call her to come, because I thought about so many like ways to go around what just happened. And when it came to the fact where it was like, you have no other option. You need to call somebody here right now. And then of course now, oh my God, this podcast needs to be like really for people with disability for me to get into the nitty-gritty of it all. No, I know people are just gonna be watching and like, what's going on?
No, it is. We are an inclusive podcast.
You have to get to that point where you open up yourself in ways that you probably wouldn't have if you didn't need. I don't even know why. Not need. Just think about it.
Tracking.
I don't think a relationship, regardless of what physical abilities, I don't think a relationship will be so successful if there's no form of vulnerability from both parties involved.
I would clap, but my mic will pick it up. But let me tell you, vulnerability is key.
It's important.
It's important. And when they say they say richer for poor, sickness and health, all those things, like friendship too, like you said.
Yeah. For long-lasting friendship, relationships, y'all will have to get to a point where you cry with each other, you laugh with each other, you share the crazy stuff with each other, you get scared together, you mourn together. And if you are thinking about the relationships in your life right now, and all you can really put together are the
None
highlight
of those
reel when
things.
y'all are dancing, then I don't think you have a tight circle. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all never cry together? Even happy tears?
No, that's huge.
You know, and it's like y'all never mourn somebody, maybe not even like family, but like even a TV show character. Yeah. When someone died in Grey's Anatomy back then, I remember me and my friend be like,
"Oh, she didn't say Grey's Anatomy."
No, I'm telling you, be like, why would Shonda kill that person off?
I know.
You know, you feel it so deeply with your people. Like, it's like, why would she do that? If you don't have a group like chat, where y'all would talk about Kobe dying and everybody is mourning together. Kobe and his daughter died, and you couldn't think of one person that you mourned together with. You know, stuff like that.
Like stuff like that.
Start evaluating the people in your life, you know? And trust me, you will attract the people that are for you once you allow yourself some level of vulnerability. Of course, I'm not telling you to go tell them that you kill 10 people. If you really kill 10 people, that's not the kind of vulnerability I'm talking about. They will send you to jail. But like,
I know what you're saying. Vulnerable, transparent, having some empathy.
To a certain degree. Ugh. And also show up for the people in your life. Not every time take. I mean, I hope that the amount of just how I'm saying this helps somebody out there to realize that there is so much love that you can get if you allow yourself to be open to it. If you allow yourself to be vulnerable, if you allow yourself to also give, because you can't just expect to take. And you can't use your disability or whatever it is about you as a crutch to just be a pest in people's life. When I chat with friends or even in my marriage, like, people think we talk about disability, like legit, it don't even be coming up in conversations. Wow. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's like, build relationships with a solid foundation, and the things that come along the way that are not ideal will just be written off as part of life. It wouldn't be like the entire chapter, like the entire book. It would just be like a chapter in your life.
Chapter in your life. Oh my gosh, Lizzy O. I don't even know. You are amazing.
You're asking me all these deep questions. I'm like, oh my gosh.
And you are really you're allowing me to go there. And I'm like, oh, I can go deeper. So when you talked about challenges and that bathroom scene, you know, like that's huge. And it makes me think about like even just challenges, you know, being a developed country, you know. So I'm trying to merge two questions together, like the challenges living in a developed country and then the challenges that let's start with the US. Do you feel like there are still challenges, you know, having a physical disability and just how you live your everyday life?
Absolutely, girl. Do you have time on this podcast?
That's okay.
And if anybody is watching and they feel like they need to watch on 2x like I do when I watch podcasts, please do. I know I talk a little bit fast, so maybe you might want to do 1.5x, but I really, that's why I
No, you're good.
Nobody asked me, but that's how I watch podcasts. I mean,
no, you're good.
Watch, but that's how I even watch YouTube. Yeah, I watch anything I can fast forward. But I really honestly think that how do I even like answer? America is amazing, okay? Coming from Nigeria, I lived in Nigeria till I was 14 years old. So trust me, I knew some things about the country. I did go back there as well in 2009 after my car accident. So I do know the state of the country. Coming from Nigeria, of course, ask me straight up, quick answer, America is better with regards to disability and just blah. But does that mean America is spotless without problems? No. America is the same country where when I started working, thinking I was doing good for myself, you know, feeling myself, getting some checks, getting paid to do what I love. America told me, well, now that you're getting money, you're going to lose your disability benefits because they only want to help you when you don't have money.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, first of all, the benefits, the things I need, they're not really benefits, even though y'all keep calling them benefits. It's more so like, I need them. You know what I mean? Like, I need these things. And if I pay out of pocket for them, it is so much more expensive than if there's government help, right? Because that's how the system is supposed to be. And so when you see people who have disabilities who say they refuse to work, before you judge them, go do your due diligence and read into why they don't want to work.
Wow.
So I was very, very shocked when I went to the Social Security office one day and I was told that I was going to lose all my benefits because now I was working and I was making more than the state limit for getting help. And so when I did the math, okay, I did the math. I was like, the math ain't math, sis. So I'm gonna keep working. I'm gonna pay bills, and then I'm still supposed to have leftover to do all of the stuff that disability needs me. I quit my job, sis.
Wow. Wow.
Because when you think about it, the system is amazing, but it only helps those who literally can't help themselves. And some people will argue that that's what it's supposed to be, but the cutoff mark just is not adding up for a regular person who still like has other bills to pay. Disability is expensive. It is expensive. Okay? I don't care who your parents are. Like, y'all could be rich. I'm sure your father's still gonna feel the
pinch.
The pinch, okay? They will still feel it. So at the end of the day, this topic should not even be dived into. It just should be, I'm just gonna say on the surface that there are still some
things that need to be
fixed in the
the system.
Country.
Wow.
But of course, if I'm gonna choose, where would I rather be disabled in? I think America is not a bad place to be.
I know. And that's the other thing, the transition to you're Nigerian, so we'll be able to understand each other when I ask these questions. I mean, we talk about stigma, and I think you know, friends that we've met, you know, stateside or in Europe, like we're actually in Europe right now, and it still has those challenges. Yeah. So, but when you think about Nigeria and we talk in stigma and just organizations that I've worked with and partnered with and, you know, people that we know, that's on a whole new level.
Oh, it's a whole new level.
It's almost unbelievable.
Where do I even go?
Anywhere.
I can't address a lot of things because as someone who doesn't live in the country 24/7, I almost feel guilty when I try to be all
I'm Nigerian.
You know,
I know.
Girl, you're not even feeling the struggle and you out here trying to be all we in the struggle together. You're not in the struggle with me, shut up. And I get it. I mean, I get it. If I didn't go to Nigeria as a disabled person in 2009, I wouldn't even have a little bit of the knowledge that I do about what goes on.
I was going to ask you about that. Like how, I mean.
It was tough. And again, this is where support system comes in. My cousins, my aunties, my uncles, everybody came together. Like, I don't know. I'm a blessed child. Let me talk about that for real. Let me just praise my God for a second because he put me in a family and with people who just are amazing. And
it's amazing.
And I think it's also because I don't make life difficult for them, you know.
Well, that's you then. You're amazing.
No. I have to toot my horn on a little bit because it's like, I know that if I stay down, everyone around me will feel it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say it in a way that, oh, I'm struggling, I'm suffering so that people around me are happy. No, I'm actually happy. So it's not like I'm faking it so that they can stay happy. But I just know that if should anything affect me so much that I'm so down about it would also affect the people around me. And so I think it's been easier for people to just, and I speak up. Let me just say it. Okay. So when I went to Nigeria, like I told everybody what I needed. If they came with like a car I couldn't get into, I'm like, y'all, I can get into that. You know, and you have to speak up. It's not when you're not sitting down and start acting depressed and thinking, I don't want to disturb them. You need to disturb people so they can know what they want, what you want. You know?
I like that.
And so going to Nigeria like that in 2009, it was challenging because, I mean, trying to get into the bank, thinking I was going into the bank with my best friend's mom. We went to the bank together thinking we were all going to enter the bank and I would see how banking in Nigeria was. And I get there and the door is like tiny. I swear even Zuri could not get into that bank. So it's like, how's a wheelchair going to get into that? You know, I had the choice to either be sad or just start laughing because I was like, man, this is a mess. So I can't even be obese and get into a bank. Like, let's even talk about that. So, you know, I think I also use humor to kind of just Because what you gonna do? Start crying in the bed? Then everybody will come around you and say, "Why are you crying?"
We don't want any pity. I know.
I hate pity. Oh my God. I hate pity so much. And I don't even know why my disdain for pity is
it's just that your DNA.
I just don't. It's like, if anything, take it away from me. I'd rather, let me not even say I'd rather, but like, I just don't want you to pity me, okay? So I just start laughing sometimes, or I get mad. Don't get me wrong. There's the situations that just make me so angry. Oh my God. If you watch my videos, like YouTube, or if you go on my page, there's situations that piss me off. Like when I go to a restaurant and it's the only restaurant.
I was going to mention that. I saw that on one of your posts. I said, ooh, because of that post you put, I think you were saying something about how, like, you know, there's a restroom that's for people who have, you know, disabilities. And then we just roll in there like, there's space. Let's put our box. Let's put our traveling box. Let's put our...
After stay there for 5 hours.
I know. You actually made me change my mind about that. And I'm guilty. I'm like, oh, you know, but I'm like, you know what? I need to be intentional about not using this restroom.
When you go shop.
Yeah.
And you're trying to use the only stall that's allowed for dress up for a person with disability.
That's a good point.
And you're in there because unless you carry 12 clothes and you want to stay in there doing fashion show in front of the mirror, and it's the only stall that a person with disability
Thank you for saying that. Thank you for saying that. That's really... Thank you for saying that, because I'm guilty, and I saw that post and I said, you know what? I haven't. Yeah. You think we should know, but I'm like, wow, that's really a shame on us.
And you know what? I know you're taking me to my angry place. Let me come back down.
Okay. Let's bring it together. Let's make a learning moment.
Exactly. I want it to be a learning moment, not a moment of like ranting.
Yes.
Like I said in the beginning of this podcast. I wasn't born this way.
Yeah.
So I'm probably very guilty of some of the things that make me angry now. I was probably very guilty of some of the stuff that make me angry now before my disability, right? I was probably that person too. I don't remember. I was a young child. Okay. I don't remember. Maybe I was bad. Maybe I wasn't, but I don't know. All I know now is I am very strongly advocating for people who have disability, because I will say my mind. I will speak up regardless. And back to the story I was talking about, like being in Nigeria and just going to the bank. I did let them know this was not okay, but were they going to break down the door for me to go in? No. So I had the choice to either be angry or just go back home. And we got back in the car. I don't even think I got out of the car, because you can literally see the door was not going to get
this is not going to work.
And we just turned around and went back home, and it was very annoying, and I could choose to let it ruin my whole day.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I just try my best. The things that piss me off, right? I don't like for something to really change my whole mood and demeanor.
Yeah.
I feel like I am already going through too much to let people affect me.
Yeah, it's true though.
It's just it's the things that really affect me are the things I can't change. Like maybe when my back pain kicks in, and there's nothing solving it, and I go to the doctors and there's no solution, or I use all the medicine and there's no solution, or like I've laid down, I've massaged myself, I've taken pills. Now that's more annoying to me than like somebody did something. Like you're not going to affect my mood. It's the things I can't really change that I have to put my faith in God for.
Yeah.
Like, God, please take this pain away from me, you know? Or like when I'm praying about something about my child or my husband or my family. Now, those things are like my moment of soberness, like where it's like, oh, man, God, please come through. Like, a lot of times, people see me or ask me questions like, do you ever get sad? Are you always happy? I'm like, I'm a human being, of course. I am always like having my moments too. Don't get me wrong, you know, but on the overall picture, again, it's the whole near-death experience thing. Where it's just kind of like, I didn't die before, I'm not going to die again, you know? No, we do die. Don't get me wrong, right?
Right.
We all die. But it's just like the things that I see affect a lot of people on a daily basis. I'm so This too shall pass.
Yeah.
Don't let it
So I put a lot of perspective. So what do you think that, like, for our country, Nigeria, we're not there every day and we don't want to sound like, oh, here we're enjoying life, water, all those things, you know, like being very empathetic about it. But what do you think could be done, like in places like Nigeria or other African nations, to really support people with disabilities in Africa?
Honestly speaking, every time I want to answer that question, I feel like for a country that doesn't even care about the basic needs of non-disabled people.
Oh, Maslow's
demand
hierarchy of needs. I always come back to that. I get to.
Can I even demand from them to do? I will. It stops me from even wanting to say it, but if I can, I think bare minimum, bro, make roads and buildings that are government owned accessible.
Yeah.
Make companies like banks, schools accessible.
Yeah.
Like, this is bare minimum. I'm not even getting to like healthcare. I'm talking just make roads and buildings accessible, period.
That's cute.
Now, if we get that done, I can maybe raise my voice into healthcare. Mm-hmm. I can maybe start talking more about like schools, programs, non-discrimination, having someone who is disabled be in position of power.
Yeah.
How many governors in Nigeria is rolling on it? Have you ever? You know? It's just, I can get into it so much. But bare minimum, bro, I'm just saying, make the roads accessible, make the buildings accessible, and start teaching that disability is not stigma. Yes. Like, let's start being kind. Yeah. And not just because we know what people are going through. Let's just be kind, period.
Period. Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm going to shift gears a little bit because that was deep. And like you said, we think about Nigeria and all the stuff that needs to be done. People don't even have food to eat. I mean, like right now, there's just so much poverty. Everything is so expensive. Like my family's back home now, my parents, and like, just like, how? I mean, something
not for the love of the people that we still have back home. I would probably remove my hand from the case.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's heavy.
It breaks your heart so much.
It is. So I'm going to go to something lighter. Your daughter is so adorable. Every time I see her and you post something, Missouri, right? She's so adorable. She's so fierce. I saw your little Encanto video and you're like, who do we not talk about? Bruno. Okay.
She's amazing. I agree. I'm not saying that because I'm a mom.
No, she is. And you could tell. But you know what? She's fierce. You're fierce. And like you said, like what we put out there, the energy we put out there, oh my God, kids are such spirit beings. They absorb that stuff. She is absorbing.
Mostly learn by watching us and copying what we do. Exactly. So if you're constantly like engaging in negative and like self-downing or just depression, they will literally shoot out your image. Yes. Have you heard like parents saying, trying to discipline the me out of my child is so difficult?
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. We'll show you who you are.
Yes. And you're like, why am I shouting? That's me. I'm like, okay, let's find a different approach. Yeah, I've had to learn that later on, like really shed a lot of love my country, love the things that Nigeria has made me to do the things that I'm able to accomplish now. But I'm like, okay, well, that mentality doesn't really work here. So we're going to have to try something different.
Yeah.
It doesn't work here.
Would throw it back in your face.
I mean, like, straight up.
When I thought yelling was the best method to get her to get right. And then she yells back, oh, girl, who are you talking to?
Yep.
No. And then you realize that, but that's how you handle problems. So why wouldn't she handle the problems the way you handle them?
Absolutely. I mean, I've had to apologize because my kids are like, you do that too. That's hypocritical.
Exactly.
I'm like,
Exactly.
wow, okay, IJ, you need to model
And they'll
something
tell
different.
you, these ones are not afraid. These children.
Oh, American children.
They're not scared.
From the heart to the mouth.
And it's also because we tell them to be brave and not scared. So why would they be scared?
Exactly. We're like, speak your mind. But I love it though. And so I just wanted to ask like how life has just been with you as a mother. And, so thankful to God that, even though the doctor said A, God had a different plan. And Missouri came out with your label. I mean, like, and your family unit is just so adorable.
Thank you.
How has life been like raising her, like having a disability and just.
I'm still raising, sorry, but
yes.
So far, just God is good.
Yeah.
And I think God will not give us more than we can bear. And
Amen.
I don't say that very lightly because
amen to that.
I see Zuri and let me just put
You're
it
just blessing me right now.
She
just like, okay, God, speak to me.
No, you know, Zuri literally acts different with me alone than when she acts when her dad is with us. And that's how I know that God knows whatever he did and she knows what she's doing because it's not been, I feel like most of the things I find difficult is what most parents find difficult. Yeah. Like, why is my toddler not listening to me? It's not being because I'm on a wheelchair. Yeah. It's not being because I'm disabled. It's not because, she hasn't even yet asked me like, why are you on a wheelchair? To her, it's just like, mom is on a wheelchair and that's it. Yeah. I know she's going to grow up because I mean, they all grow up, they go to school, their friends will ask them questions and they have to come home and ask you too. I'm looking forward to all that fun times when they come home. I'm looking forward to it. No, I'm not. But, it's going to happen. And I know that we're going to cross that bridge when it gets there.
When we get there.
Now, I think it's mostly just, she wasn't like an accident. We wanted her. So also,
I love that. I love that.
I was ready, mentally ready. We knew that for the things that felt difficult, we had a backup solution. Like when she was born, God bless my big mommy's soul, we had her here with us like a long time. Why am I here in this conversation? Moving on. My big mommy was here.
Okay.
The whole Omega thing.
That's your mom, right? Or
she's my aunt, but she's
your aunt. Okay. Your mom. Okay.
She was a very integral part into like the babyhood of Zuri. And having her around helped me not focus so much on the things I couldn't do. And I probably would have found ways, which I did. Don't get me wrong. I was still a very hands-on mom in the early days of Zuri's life. But it was just nice having my mother figure here and not having to worry about it. And anybody that can, I tell you, please let those mothers come. Yeah. You might think you like your space, but their presence, if they're good people, they don't go invite witchcraft into your house. I'm just talking about like the good moms,
the good
grandparents.
Please highlight that part.
Let them come.
Yeah.
You think you love your space so much. Trust me, the space you love is not enough for the shenanigans
that comes with you. Oh my God.
You need grandma to back that baby so you can sleep for 5 hours.
I'm telling you, I can't. I'm so grateful. Even though for my mom, goodness.
Yeah, right. And that's also kind of part of the support system I was talking about. Like you just said, your mom.
Oh my God. I could not even
talk a little bit about.
Let me tell you.
Early days.
I had our first two, I had my kids back to back. So one was still like 1-year-old and the second, now they're like going to be 18, going to be 17. But I was that double stroller, one feeding one. I mean, breastfeeding and all that. It was, my mom, she cleaned that. God, I mean, and I'm so grateful, like you said, like with COVID, and I didn't mean to like cut you off. I just wanted to, just say that. Like,
I asked you. I didn't know I've been talking too much.
No, but with COVID, we've lost a lot of people, and it just puts a lot of things in perspective. Like, I'm so grateful to still have my parents around, but my mom cleaned my fridge, cleaned my floors, cleaned my bathroom, fed the kid.
Cook for you.
Cook for me.
Did the whole massage thing.
I did. I mean, even having a kid, like all those things. I mean, I don't know who's watching the inclusive podcast, but still, we're mothers, right? Yeah. We're talking about motherhood. But, having a kid, your saw down there, and there's certain things that we had to do, like, we would have to, like, sit in, like, hot water. I know it's not, I don't know how to do it in America. Okay? Like, all those things, or even, like, learning to breastfeed. Like, I didn't know that. Right. And nobody told, I mean, I went to, like, classes, but some people
you watch the vlogs, but it's not the same as practical, bro.
It's not. And my kids didn't really latch, and I would just be postpartum depressed, girl. I mean, so I agree with you on me. I like, if they said they wanted to come, please come.
It's not like you live with me for 18 years, so just become, and again, of course, you have to know the people you have in your life. Exactly. If they're gonna cause you more problems, please. Yes. You survive alone.
Yes.
But
we had those moments too.
If it's just because you think, oh, grandma inside the house, you and your husband will not be able to have sex, all that stuff, it's throw it out the window. You find ways to do what you need to.
What you need to. Oh my goodness! Wow.
You'll be all right. Okay. Grandma's presence is more important than this sex you can have.
Absolutely.
Go on a staycation while grandma stays with the baby, even.
Exactly.
Don't be that way.
Oh my goodness. I have really enjoyed talking to you. Yeah. No, I've enjoyed talking to you. And I wanted to just ask, like, you've said so many encouraging things. I mean, you've had so many nuggets, and I try not to be like the podcast where you're like really quoting people, but you had so many quotables but very real too. Like, when is your book coming out? Like, I know you have a vision board thing.
But yeah, I do have a ebook about vision boards because I believe strongly in vision boarding. But a book, what am I gonna write about?
Everything you said here today is a book.
Can somebody take them and turn it to a book for me?
Okay. I mean, if you can find, oh, wait, one of my daughters is like, honey, you pick me up. Yeah, like mother drive everything. But seriously, like, you have so many words of.
Thank you.
I mean, I'm not even trying to blow smoke up your behind. You are the real deal. Like, I've learned so much talking to you.
Thank you.
And
you made this so easy. It feels like I'm just chatting with a girlfriend.
And I'm so grateful for that. But you are, and it's not pity. I'm like, how do I say what I'm saying so it doesn't sound like pity? It's like, aww. I feel like who you are even before that experience, like, it's still there. But like, I don't know if the experience even made it just come out and just shine so bright and so clear and so relatable.
I can answer that.
Yes.
Yeah, I can answer that. Because I feel like I was that child who, even before my car accident, where I was like a bubbly personality. Like, I was everywhere. And I was on social media. I was on i5 before y'all got into Facebook.
i5 and Black Planet.
Okay. I was on MySpace. Actually, I did not have a MySpace because I felt I was cooler than
MySpace.
So, but I'm just saying, I feel like your personality certainly has a lot to do with how you take on challenges that come across your way. And that's why sometimes when I talk to people, and they're like, oh, Lizzy, but I was never that person. I was always like introverted. And now that I'm going through this challenge, whatever the challenge is like, I can't, you talk about support system so much, but I don't even trust nobody. And I'm like, I get it. Like, it probably is quote unquote easier for some of us, but that doesn't mean it's impossible for you to attain as well. It just will take a lot more than it does for those who it comes natural to.
Right.
And also, I just think my faith in God plays a key part in all of like my personality, my positivity, whatever it is you call it, my motivational, my inspirational, all of these things. I feel like my faith in God plays a huge part in it because I just know that God did not leave me here for me to just be mediocre. And so for that, I'm like, I'm gonna be the best version of myself that I can be. Because I have to glorify God's name. You know, I have to show the world that God is good, bro.
Yeah.
Like, bad stuff could happen, but God is good, Wow. And that doesn't mean that now, tomorrow, something bad will not happen, but it just means that I'm still, once you have that personality, once you have that view of life, where it's like, I'm here for a purpose, this too shall pass.
Yes.
God is not letting me go through something that I mean, some people call it coping mechanism, you know, whatever it is, as long as it keeps you going, bro, you good.
Wow.
Let's keep going.
Oh my goodness. It's such a pleasure talking to you.
Thanks for listening to Miss IJ's Kids Inclusive Podcast this week. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so on our website at www.ijpopoola.com. Or if you want to write to us about topics you would love to hear covered on the show, the email address is popoloijoma@gmail.com, one word. And if you'd like to follow us on our social media pages, it's at Miss IJ's Kids. I am IJ Popoola, and you've listened to Miss IJ's Kids Inclusive Podcast.